So hello, again, I will share now my screen. One moment, please. Before I do so. Yes. So we are here once more today and ready to go to the module number 3, which is the security policies and procedures, day 3. And even though it is something which is important and critical for you to know and to do so, I'm sure all of you have the specific manual and you can find, we will talk again about this anyway, about the policies, and it will be a part of, at the end of the trilogy, and at the end also of this program, of the security managers program, you will need to provide, to create security policies and procedures. So we will say a few things, not so much for the policies as for you to understand why you should have in place this kind of policies and how you will request the application of all these policies. So let's start, because I would like tomorrow to have, tomorrow we have, not tomorrow, I'm sorry, day after tomorrow, to the next lecture, we have something which is quite interesting, I think, which is the security systems. And I want you to go deep inside in this, because it's something that usually it takes lots of efforts and ages until a security manager finds out about systems. And it is ridiculous, a security manager, to ask the security company, for example, a security company or a technician or something, to find out what is a hidden camera, for example, what is how the access control it works, and so on. So, and because this is not possible to cover it in one day, I will steal a little bit from today's time, and in order to start with the security systems a bit. So, security procedures, you can see, is a backbone of an organization. If we don't have policies and procedures in place, it is like everybody do whatever they want. Because if you say to somebody to do something, this somebody will say, who says so? Because I tell you, I'm the security manager, so what? But when there is a security policy in place, it means the company decided to give you an order to create it if it wasn't there before you. And the company decided the application of these procedures. So if there are procedures there, if there are security policies, then you can say to everybody, as the company decided, and this will make your life very easy. And at this point, let me tell you a small story about something that I witnessed since many years ago. And I'm sure those that dealing with door supervision, as we call it. Definitely they understand what I'm saying, what I'm about to say. So I received a request, a complaint from one of the places we had security guards. Myself, I was the general manager at this period, I think so, or the security manager. I think it was the general manager of the security company then. Yes, indeed. And they complained to me that in a specific company, and this company, it was a little bit critical company. It was a lotto company, you know, a lottery that was lots of, you know, it was a high risk client. It wasn't just, I don't know, a building with offices and I don't know what else. And in this, it was a regulation that it said all people who are about to enter the building, the security guard should check the bags, and the people have to pass through a metal detector. It was a metal gate, you know, detector. It was a gate, like the ones that are in the airport. So every day, the security guards, at least once or twice a day, they had some incidents from some idiots who were coming and was complaining. They didn't allow them. They didn't allow the security guards to do their job. They said, no, 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 you will not check my bag. Do you know who am I? And we had arguments on a daily basis. So I thought a lot to find a solution. And finally, as it seems, I did, because I created an A4 piece of paper, you know. I wrote in the computer with big letters, very big letters, that it is not obligatory, the security guard, to control your bag and you to pass from metal detector. But if you don't do so, you are not able to enter in the building. And this actually is the law, you know. You're not able to force someone to check if, you know, for metal things or to, you know, whatever. You're not able, especially in the private security industry, if you are not, you know, law enforcement. But even law enforcement, if you are in private facility, the visitor should have an option to not enter, you know. You say, no, I don't want you to check me, but I will not come in. And in the same mentality, it's also the private companies. They say, okay, I'm not able to force you to control, to check you. But if you don't allow me to check you, I will not allow you to enter. And the issue is over. And when I print out this paper, I went to the office of the CEO of the company, and I took a signature, because I put also CEO's name, and I took a signature of the CEO, and I went to the president's office, and I took a signature from the president, and then I put two small stickers in order the signatures to not be visible to the public, you know, but it says you was able to see something was there. It was a signature there, but how it looks, I'm not sure. Okay. And I said, listen, if you doubt, you can ask the president, you can ask the CEO. So when the people, and I stick this, I forgot to tell you, in the back of the security guard. So every time somebody was entering, and watching this big A4, paper, they stopped even talking to the security guards. They was entering immediately by themselves. They was opening their bags, and they was taking out the metal stuff and go through the gate and finish. No troubles since then at all. Not even one day, not even one issue. Why? Because none of them was more powerful in this building than the president and the CEO. And when the president and CEO decided this, who's going to say anything? Even friend of them, even family of them, they will not, because then it's like they disgrace the CEO or the president. So the problem was over. This example, what exactly is telling us? Is telling us that when there are in place security policies and procedures, our job tends to be easier, and we are protected. Not only the security level goes higher, which it goes higher, this is true, but also the legal responsibilities, you as security manager and also the security staff, going lower. As long you obey the documents and the policies and all these things. Huh? And again, you have something to say. You can say, listen, if you don't want to obey, two things can happen. One is you will not enter. Second is you can enter and I will be fired. So which of the two you want? The one that says you don't enter, or the one that says you enter and I will be fired. So it's a nice dilemma. Now, in order to design, this is the challenge. The challenge is not so much to obey and to apply the policies as it is complicated to create them. Why? Because the policies, it should be custom made according to every customer, according to every single place. We have actually two different policies. We have the general security policy, security and safety policy, which is general, and this is applicable everywhere. And we have also the policies, security and safety, for the specific facility or person or whatever. Huh? So what I would like to say is, one moment, I'm sorry, I just move. One will say the general regulations, the general, let's say, policies. For the security department, if this security department is security department of security guards of a security company, or if it is employees of the facility that they work in the security department, this is absolutely the same. There is not an issue. But the general security policies are those that we control everybody who comes in. When it comes, when we make, at night, when we make foot patrol to the building, we check if there is cigarette which is not, extinguished properly and we have fire, if some doors are forgotten unlocked, if some lights are forgotten on, we have to put them off, and so on. Another policy, for example, is if we have a big building, and we have one security guard. If we have more security guards, it's not a problem on the shift, on the same shift in the same area. But if it's only one, it's prohibited to take the elevator, because if it takes the elevator and then suddenly something happens, the person will be blocked in. And if the mobile phone doesn't connect, because you are inside in the elevator, many times doesn't work, you will not be able to call for help. And you know, sometimes we say the devil has lots of legs. This is what we say in Greece. And it is possible, while you know, no, it's not a problem. If something happened, my mobile usually it works, not a problem. But when you go in, the telephone goes off, the battery, you forgot to charge it, and then it happens. And then you say, today that my battery was off today, we have a blackout, you know, from the power and so on. So we don't use elevator when we're alone, because we never know what will happen. And when we have a very tall building, this is a challenge. This is something that usually the security guards does not obey. In order to make them obey now, you are the chief of the security, you are the security manager, and you have the security guards in the building. And you know, these people, they will not obey. They will take the elevator in order to go to the 7th floor, for example. Okay? And if you get somebody will tell you, you know, sir, because, or madam, because it takes too much time until I go with the staircase, and if something happened, you know, and blah, 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 all these rubbishes. So you have to make a policy. You have to design a policy. You have to design the job description of the security guard of the night shift in a manner that is impossible to take the elevator. Okay? For example, all big buildings, they don't have one staircase. They have two. Okay? So you say to the security guard, no matter from which staircase you decide to go up, you have to come down from the other staircase. So when you go up from the left staircase, for example, you have the patrol clock, we call it. You make, you know, which this device, in the past it was a clock, a real clock. You was hanging it to your neck, and you had keys. Inside the clock had tape, and this keys was hanging securely, very nicely, you know, installed, because we had also issues. Security guards, they was taken out from the wall, they have it in the booth, and every 1 hour they was hitting the keys in the booth, because this is to prove you make your patrol at night, you know. And next day, the security manager opens the clock and the patrol clock, and check the tape, what time you hit each key, and is able to understand, and so on. So today, all these things are electronic. I don't know if you have in your company. And we have two types. One is a portable type, can be also a torch, you know, like a flashlight. And that this kind of torches, of flashlights, I don't know how you call it in your country. Sometimes they have also, I say, a stun gun, a teaser, you know, taser. And you go, you touch it, you know, and then it's calculated. And then this thing, when you finish your shift, you put to the computer, and it shows that you, a security guard, you make your tour, and so on. Otherwise, the company will understand that you were sleeping at night. And this can be a reason to be fired. So the issue is that You can say, if you go from the left staircase, you will come down from the right one. And you put this kind of keys to control the guard. So it's not possible to take the elevator, except if takes the elevator and go up, comes down, but after must go from the staircase up, because the keys also should be, in this manner, ground floor, first floor, second floor, and so on. So I'm just give you an example how you can find a solution about issues and challenges you have probably with the security guards. So you made a procedure, you made a policy, and this policy resolved the problem you had. Okay? Therefore, you have to create policies, especially for each single place you work. For example, I had a communication with a gentleman yesterday and today about the bank security and so on. So a very good idea in the bank is, if you have a security guard and sees somebody to approach to come in the bank, if the glass door, the first glass door, is bulletproof and vandal-proof at the same time, you can have the security guard exactly next to the entry of the bank. And if he sees that is coming somebody to stand there, and I will explain to you why, but if he sees somebody that tries to come inside in the bank with a helmet while he's wearing the helmet, then he can close the door and lock it and say, remove the helmet in order to come in. Because, nobody will allow you to come in the bank if you have balaclava, because it's sure 100% you are about to make a bank robbery. But with a helmet, I was driving motorcycle, I forgot to take it out. Okay? It's a tactic they use, the bank robbers, to enter without to draw attention. So, and why the security guard to stay next to the entrance? Exactly for this reason. Be able to close the door and to be able to see for suspicious movements. You have to be stupid to see somebody enter, exit a car and comes to your direction with a helmet. Okay, one. Second, you have to be stupid to believe that somebody comes to the bank from a car with other 2-3 men inside without to make you think. 3-4 men in one car. Why? When do we find 3-4 men in one car? In the night out, when they're friends and so on, they have to go to drink and so on, or when they work together at this moment, at this very moment. And what is the job they do? Law enforcement, and they never be 4, except if they are FBI agents. Sometimes they can be 4, or bank robbers. Most important, most possible. I'm sorry. Okay, you have to think. But how the security guard will see this? If you expect the surveillance from the cameras to see this, forget it. So you have to have somebody standing by the door, to the inside side of the door. In many banks, they put them to outside side of the door. But outside, an unarmed security guard to do what? To have something to kill before they come in. I don't see any purpose to be outside. Because when he's inside, it's possible to close the door. It's possible to scream bank robbery, and somebody from a teller to press the panic button. There are possibilities. When he's outside, until opens the door and say, and so things is over, because criminal is already where he is. He put the gun in his stomach and he says, shut up, come with me inside. Finish. He's not able even to breathe. But all these are policies. I'm not talking now about bank security, but I'm talking about policies. You understand? So you don't want a security guard standing by the entrance. You don't want. It's a different job usually. But in the bank, it's very important to have it. Okay? Of course, depends the specific branch also, how it is, the building and so on. Okay? Now, the security policies, we make them, as I said, to regulate the operation of the building in accordance with the security and safety, of course. And we will see now about safety regulations as well. And you will realize what I said to the previous lectures about, even though you are not responsible for the health and safety, if there is no manager for health and safety, this is your baby also. You want it or not. Don't go outside and say it to anyone, okay? Because as more you say, as more responsibilities you take, as more problems you have. Don't go outside and say it, but you know it and you have to do things in this direction. And whenever you do and it's positive, everybody will be happy. Don't declare, I'm also safety manager. Okay, so for example, now, except, let's say you make a regulation, but this regulation is not just because you believe this method is the best. Maybe it is. Can I give you an example? What is the best method to check if somebody has a hidden knife or a hidden explosive or a hidden pistol? To strip the person naked. Can you do that? No. Why? Because it's against the law, first of all. Okay? And if it's against the law, you are not able to do it publicly or in private. You are not able to do it. And you are not able to do it if you are from the same gender or from the opposite gender. It doesn't matter. You are not able to do it because it's not only, it's not only, it's issue of dignity. You are not able to see somebody naked or to touch the body of somebody. Also prohibited to touch the body of somebody. Only police officers and police officers, supervisors, actually people who in the most countries in the world, I'm telling you now, next door police officers are not able to make you a body search. Okay? And of course, always in body search has to be the same gender. But they're not able, everybody, to do. They have to be very well. They are able, according to the law. Police is able. But they don't. And it's smart they don't. Because to make body search, you have to know how to do it. Because it's very easy to be accused for sexual harassment. For example, in the places, I'll give you just an example. In places which are sensitive in this direction, you must not touch like this, you must touch like this and feel if it's a metal. Okay? Not possible to have sexual, feelings for somebody if you touch like this. You don't feel nothing here. You understand? This is a body and this is your hand. You search like this to see if it's metal inside or a knife or a pistol. You don't search like this. Okay? But this is not only. There are other methods for the body search and spots for body search that only experienced law enforcement officers know. You have to know, in no case, you should ask from private security people, officers, to make body search. Only body search you can do is with a metal detector, hard metal detector, or if you are in a special facility, that this is allowed by the law. Okay? Prisons, nuclear power plants, American embassy. Okay? But in American embassy, I think body search is by the Marines. I'm not sure. Depends the country. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm just saying. So when you design and you apply your I say your regulations and you make your security plan, you have to consider, you have to be under the law. Okay. So, for example, we says here, data protection law is another issue. But you can say, okay, in order to come in, you have to give me your ID, your identity card, which is okay. You have to know who is coming in. Okay. But first, one, you are not able to take the identity card, even though in the past it was a very good method in order to not lose the visitor's card. What exactly I mean? In the past, in my times, we had, when it was a high risk, high security area, you was going there, you was giving your identity card, they was checking it and so on, they was writing down your details, and they was giving to you back, and then they was giving to you a visitor's card. You have to put it here, tag, okay? But in some occasions, the people was leaving without to deliver their visitor's card. And in some occasions, in these buildings, they didn't check the person when it was going out. They was checking the person only when it was going in. Okay. So what was happening is the people was taking with them the card, and they was losing cards every day, visitors cards. So they found out an idea to keep the identity card or the driver's license, I don't know what, identity card usually, and to give it to you back when you go and deliver your visitor's card. Very smart idea. It gave a solution, but you are not able today to do it. Because at that time, this GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, didn't exist. Today, you are not able to take in your hand and keep or scan the identity card, at least in Europe. I don't know in other countries. I'm just put this also on the table in order to think this issue. Okay? So in some places, they still take your identity, they make copies, but what it happens to me is to all places they did that. If I'm not mistaken, all these places were governmental places. Okay? It was in Swiss government. So the issuer, okay, can do it. The government. Government can ask, because you have to know, I think you do, that the governmental identity cards you have as a citizen in all countries, as far as I know, does not belong to you. It's a governmental document, belongs to the government. So belongs to the government, can always ask for it or recall it. It's their property, not yours. This is the reason that if you go to the streets and you start burning money, in most of the countries, I think except United States, I'm not sure, they can put you in prison because the banknotes does not belong to you. You can have them, you can use them, You can keep them at home. You can keep them to your bank account, but you are not able to destroy them because are governmental documents, does not belong to you. Okay? So you can give them to somebody else, you can buy things, but you are not able to destroy them, to put fire, to do these things like this. But I see many videos in YouTube, so I don't know what happened in the United States and if the law enforcement knows about it. So we have this, and we have health insurance portability and accountability in the United States. As long as I know, we don't have any Americans, so let's not go to this because it's mostly for social security number, protection of social security number, and so on. They have United States. Because if you take the name of somebody and and you know also the social security number of this somebody, you can prove only with these two data that it's you're talking. You understand? Because it's strictly professional, the social security number. So they are not able to copy these things or to ask them. We have also the regulations of occupational safety and health administration standards in the United States, but these standards are applicable and are, known all over the world. It's not only for America. In America, it's obligatory in many places, in all places actually, where people are working or people are moving, existing. Now, see, the next is ISO 27001. ISO 27001 actually is about IT security, information security, and information security risks. So now we have here ISO. Let's put something about ISO before we finish for today. We will not hang up because we still have, as I said, a part. We will start today for the electronic security management, the security systems. We will start a little bit today. So ISO is the acronym from international, as it was in the past. When it founded, it was International Standardizations Organization. Today is renamed to International Organization for Standardizations. So, but anyway, this ISO does not have any connection with us. That's why we are separated to ISOSEC, in order to not mislead the people, to not believe we are the same. We are not the same. And this is good and bad. Actually, it's only good, because if we were somebody to have an ISO certificate needs to pay more than $10,000 or $15,000, and somebody to have an ISO certificate can have it with $15 and not $15,000. Okay, so I think this is positive. Our ISO is different. It's not from the standards. It's from security, the National Security Organization, which is the first part of the ISO-SEC, and SEC from the security. So 20,007 is a prototype that describes procedures in order to protect your organization from cyber threats, and generally about, it's about IT security. Not data security, but IT security. It's information technology. Okay, to the information can be also generally the data, but because data, sensitive data, you don't have only in your servers. Sensitive data, for example, can be also a list you have of the employees of a company, or to the human resources, that human resources keeps the addresses, the home addresses of the people who are working there. These data are sensitive data, personal data and sensitive data. And if this data leak, if this data goes out, this can apply, let's say, a very serious threat, very high risk for the lives of people from the company, when especially the company is military applications company, or sometimes, a strategic importance target, and so on. So what I have to tell you for this is only one. You have to design, as I said, we have two regulations. One is the general regulation. For example, the security guard is not possible to come like me, like Santa Claus. Security guard has to be nice, saved and so on. If has a bird, must be trimmed properly, not like Osama bin Laden. It should be in a proper manner, okay? But I'm not operative in the security guard now. So, this is general regulation. Uniformed security guards, they have to come with a uniform that is clean, that is ironed, okay, that is not destroyed. The general security guard regulations, for example, can be also the shoes they will wear, to not be, sneakers, sports shoes and stuff. Of course, in the security industry, not only in Africa, but globally, we have challenges in these issues, especially for the shoes. Uniform, it is possible to give you from somebody who resigned, okay? It is possible. A shirt, if it's nicely washed and so on, in the same size, you can wear it. But shoes, usually, you don't give them, because if somebody takes them and in 4 months resign, then these shoes are useless. You're not able to give shoes. It's issue of hygiene, Can give diseases from one person to the other one, infections to the nails and so on. And how, if you don't give the shoes as a company, how you can demand what kind of shoes the worker will have when the worker doesn't have to eat? These are ethical dilemmas that you, as the security manager, have to fight for, okay? You have to do it, of course, without to make a revolution, but you have to do it in a way to request from the company to provide, for example, shoes, comfortable shoes for all security guards, especially those that are standing or those that are making foot patrol. Okay? Otherwise, for those that are sitting in a chair, you have to have a comfortable chair, because this is tools of work. You're not able to treat somebody like an animal, because an animalistic production you will not have serious results. And this is your job as well, because if the security guards, they don't do the job properly, you will be exposed. You will have the problem. Okay? So I think we finished with this. I will not finish with the recording, because we continue with the fourth day's lecture, which is the electronic security management. And I have to say that in the companies, we have, first of all, different levels of protection according which kind of company we're dealing. Okay. For example, before I said about shoes. If the security guard works in in refineries, the security guard, and not only the security guard, but everybody. I'm talking about the security guard because usually those people, they make foot patrol and they walk a lot. They should wear special shoes, anti-static shoes. It means if there is a static currency, electric currency, static to the clothes, to the body of the security guard. As for example, sometimes it happens, one tries to greet the other one or touch the other one like this, and you can hear it also make chuck, and you feel something hits you like electricity. So this is static electric, as you know very well. So now imagine if the shoes are not proper, it is possible this chuck to happen to the ground. And because we know all this kind of fuel and gas and all these things are heavier than the air, than the atmosphere, they don't go up, they are to the floor. And if your shoes are not proper, can make a spark and you have a beautiful explosion. Because sometimes even if you put fire, maybe you don't have a problem, but if you make a spark, then you have an issue. This is how the gasoline engines work with the spark plugs. So anyway, now according, as I said, to the area we are, and by the way, because I said this now, when you have flammable liquids and gas and so on, you need also special electronic security systems. The camera, the housing actually of the camera, because camera you don't have. I don't know that exists. I don't think exists, but definitely exists. Housing for camera, which is anti-explosive, as we call it. It means you put there the camera, and in no case, even if inside in the housing, make sparks all the time because the camera takes power, and the power inside in the board. I'm not telling you in the connection you make, which is also possible, but inside in the electric board, it is possible one of the material to not be well soldered, as we call it, properly glue it, let's say, to the board, to the electronic board, and this can make sparks. So if you have a camera which is not, sorry, a housing which is not anti-explosive, you will have explosion. And I'm very sorry to tell you that I witnessed something like this from all three faces. But there was all three faces. Once a company called me as security auditor to make a check to see about the security in this. It wasn't a refinery, but it was a company that had explosive gas. They were selling explosive gas. Okay. So I went there, I checked, and I told them that they're in very high risk because the housing from the cameras wasn't anti-explosive. The junction boxes that was making the connections between camera and recorders and so it wasn't anti-explosive as well. And the cables wasn't specially protected. And it means it was possible if a cat or a dog, I don't know, go and chew the cable, you will have again probably explosion. So not protected. And there were no regulations in place like this. I just told you before about the special shoes. So, and not only, also cars. The cars that enter in an area like this, also in refineries, they have to have a special system to ground possible static electric currency. Many times you find chains that hanging and, hit on the ground, chains, and you say, why this car have this chain behind, or something like a rubber that it is down, you know, a long thing that touches to the ground. And this is rubber, but from one side that you don't see when you look from behind is metal, and this metal do exactly this job, okay? Grounds the static electric of the car. And not necessarily for refineries, many times it's because you try to go inside in the car and hit you the static electric, jack. And it's very annoying. Therefore, they put these things in order. Today, they don't need anymore because they have methods to ground the static electric, and they have methods to not create also static electric currency. So you don't have this to modern cars without to have a chain and so on. But when you have a big truck, you know, a tank that comes inside to fuel, to put fuel and go or bring fuel, these usually they have a chain that is going down all the way or just before they enter to the area, exactly for this reason. So this was the first step. They called me, I make the report, and I was expecting they will call me to make them my study and my plans, and to get paid for it, of course, because just to go and check, I didn't charge them. So what happened is, one day my telephone rang, and then it was a friend of mine who knew that I went there and who knew that I was, you know, upset because this place was ridiculous. And he called me and he said to me, please go to and turn the TV on to the news to see something. And then I did. It was a specific area. It had an explosion, and the flames, it was something like, I don't know, 500-600 meters high, the flames. Okay, I didn't have visual contact in order to see, but according to what the people said from all areas around, they hear the explosion, near to the area, all glasses broke and so on. And they called me. This was now the second phase of this, to check if this started from the security systems or I don't know what else. I was unable to say because everything was burnt also. And the third, it was they called me to the court to testify that I did predicted a possible risk, and nobody gives a damn. Guess what? 2 persons went in prison. CEO of the company and the chief of security. They didn't have specialists for safety and so on at all. And they put the chief of security, the security manager, in prison. Okay, that's why I'm telling you, because you never know how things can tend to be ugly for you. Be prepared with all these things, okay? So to electronic systems now, we start from the physical access control systems. So, these are, and why we say physical, because we have also, as you see below, and the logical access control systems, which is for, how you say, it's for the IT, it's for the computers and stuff. So to the physical access control systems, which is actually, you can call them physical, but they're electronic control systems, you have option to enter by the use of key card, biometric scanners, fingerprints, facial recognition, veins recognition. There are systems that you put your hand inside and measure the veins you have in your hand, because it is possible to find, same geometry to the face with somebody else. It is possible to find same fingerprints But according to what they say, it's impossible to find the same veins in the hand. And makes sense because veins created according to many different things. How big is the hand, you know, how much you work with the hand and many things. Okay, so the veins created internally, it's a passage, like a tunnel. This is the way that our body creates the veins. So it's unique to every person. Because we are talking about this now, let me tell you a challenge we have with biometric systems. As you know very well, it is a problem with, how we say, it is a problem with the personal data when you keep the biometric data, not in all countries, but in many countries, when you keep the biometric data of somebody, for example, if in order to enter the building, I put my finger and to the reader, to the biometric reader, and then the biometric reader reads my fingerprint and then checks and make a control with the fingerprint, which is in the database of the system, in order to allow me to enter the building, because this is a procedure. This offers risks because my fingerprint is stored in the database of the system, which is in the building. And this is a problem in some countries. Or if it's not a problem in your country, it can be in the future. So if it's in your hand, because if there is no reason why you should start digging the specific issue, but if your company does not have how you say, a biometric access control system, in the past we created a solution. I hope this solution is stolen and you are able to find it to the market. If not, we can rebuild the specific solution, but it will be very expensive. It should be a big installation in order to me and my team to create this again, to rebuild it from scratch. But what we created in the past is this. These cards, I will show you. I don't know which day my chair will break and the people will witness myself to fly to the ground. So this, for example, is it's something which is invisible for you because let me check to the blur of my background. I clicked it. And now let me check if I can completely remove. Okay. Now you can see also my certificates in the back. So as you can see, this is the membership card of World Bodyguards Association, okay, WBA. So in this ID card, as you can see, of course, it's not printed yet here, the picture of the member and so on. Is there waiting. So as you can see here, okay, it's a contact IC, as we call it. It's a microchip, let's say. And this card has two microchips. One is here, and another one is inside here, which is proximity. It's exactly like the proximity cards of access control that you approach it to the reader reads it and opens the door. So in this microchip inside, you can put up to, I think, 2-3 kilobytes. Every byte is one, you can say is one digit. Okay, if we put your name inside, can take up to 3,000 letters, digits, because even the space, it is a digit. But I'm just saying, okay. But you have option to have a bigger, higher capacity than this. So what we did in the past, it was this. We created a chip with higher capacity. Not we created, we found a chip with the highest capacity possible. And when we was making the registration of a user to the access control, we was scan the fingerprints, and the fingerprint data, we didn't put it in the access control system, but we put it to this card inside, not to this, to WBA, but to the similar card. We created the system. And what happened? Every time that somebody was coming from our people, from the people who was working in the building to enter, first was putting the card in the reader, to the proximity reader, or to be honest, not to the proximity, was going to the slot to read it, to take all the data, and then there was putting the finger to the reader, to the scanner. And the system, what it was doing was comparing the real time, the live, let's say, fingerprint, with the fingerprint was stored in the card the user hold. Okay? But the card was unique. It's a card that has a special, another microchip as well. This very, very long digit, very, very long code, which was encrypted, not possible to read it and reproduce a card with fake fingerprints and so on. Okay. It was a high security system, not too high. Okay, too high is to have the fingerprint stored to your database, but in order to avoid the personal data law, we find this way. So the user was holding the card with his own or her own fingerprint in the card. And this is truly life-saving when you have these kind of problems. So, and imagine somebody was coming, was putting the finger, first was putting the card in the slot, then the finger and code, okay? So then you had enough security for somebody to come in. Is this okay? Do you know how long you need to do this procedure? When you have a place that some buildings in China, for example, or some other factories, there are some places that they come the same time, exactly the same time, 2,000 or 3,000 people to pass from this reader. If every person do this with the fingerprints and so on, then we need the last person will enter in after 3 or 4 hours or 4 weeks. I don't know, to be honest. And that's why from one position and after, we have to find other solutions. And I'm saying this because here now we're talking about, these are theories, some theoretical parts, in order you to understand how we, to find out how we call physical, PACS, physical access control systems, and so on. This you will read it, you have the manual. To me, allow to tell you in practice how some things happen or can happen. So today, we have easier methods. The easier methods is this one, okay? You can have a software inside in this. Software can be registered by the company, or you can have, how you say, now I will allow me, I don't remember if it's this one. Yes. So allow me to have the nice logo in my background. So then you have the software, and the software is unique because you log in also to the software, and you have a registration already and so on. And then when you pass, the system reads that your mobile phone entered to the place. And not only, there are systems that they can trace you also where you are in the area. Okay. And maybe this is not that useful to next door business, but there are businesses, there are places which is very, very useful. For example, when somebody works in the airport, or when somebody works in a place that has lots of different security levels. Because this, if you want, this is also one of the features of an advanced access control system. That what levels we have to the access control. With the access control, we can program if myself, I'm able to go everywhere, or only to one floor and to one room, to my room, which is in this floor. I'm not able to go higher. And something, if you have access control that opens the door, and I'm not talking now, because think something. We have here something which is comes in opposition. We said also to the previous lectures that safety and security are two sisters or brothers, or call it as you want. My language is sisters. So because one protects you, the safety from accidents and so on, natural disasters and so on, and security protects you from something a human wants to do to you. But look now, some regulations that come in opposition one to the other, come in conflict. Safety, it says, keep the doors unlocked. Security, it says, keep the doors locked. Keep the doors locked in order to not have unauthorized people who will come in and kill the people. And to the safety, keep the doors unlocked, because in case of fire, people will not be able to go out and they will burn inside. But there are solutions in these problems. For example, something which is special bars, we put them to special doors, and then we push this bar. And when you push this bar, the bar unlocks the door and opens the door, but the security has a system to detect this, and you have sirens that tells you there you have a security leak, you have a door opened, and the same time informs everybody, because if somebody opens there, it means maybe in this area you have a fire. Okay? And in any case, alerts the area. And if it's somebody, now, if there are terrorists and come in with guns and so on, you lost. Security, 0. Safety, 1. We lost. Okay? But if somebody tries to come secretly inside to steal or to do, it's not secretly. If somebody from inside opens to bring this person in, or opens in order to escape, you have these doors also in some shops with electronics and so on, because it's a law. But if you try to open from there, you have sirens, you have everything there. You will be arrested. So shoplifting is another big issue, but it's not our topic. That's why security has too many different categories and topics. And if somebody says, I know everything, in the security industry, most possible is this person knows nothing. Okay? Myself, until today, I study until today. Okay? And I study not only by reading books and so on, I study in universities also. Okay? And I am a part-time professor. And I have my vice chancellor at this moment send me message. Anyway, so you have to have in mind that when you design a security system, you have to be sure that this security system will resolve and will not create problems instead. Okay? So, to the logical access control systems is a system that when you go to your office and you open the computer that belongs to the company, you have to put a code. In some cases, you have also fingerprint, how you say, reader to unlock your computer, or like in my case, sorry, one moment, because I blocked. I don't know if you are able to see in order to go to this is a reader, okay? In order to go to the computer of my server, you need to have a card, and this card, I will not tell you my secrets, but this card is very, very high security card. Okay, I will tell you a small tip. It's a bank card, okay? It's a bank card. And we have a software that controls the cards. We said who is who, okay? Even though in this room, in this building, not very often others than me, because all our courses taking place in Zurich. I'm in the headquarters in Riedheim. Anyway, so what I would like to say is you have also their systems, and you have also the MFA, which is a multi-factor authentication, for example. And I suggest this, I suggest this. If you try to log in as administrator to our platform, to our website, is impossible, because the administrators, they have a special software to their mobile phone that generates codes, and except the password, which is big and difficult and so on, you have to put the code from your mobile phone, which is registered with the system we have, and this code changing every 15 seconds. Okay? So this is the MFA. And we have integrated access control systems, which is, how you say, what we said the other day, that it's a system that can give you a physical also access, for example, in the server room. We said this the previous time, which is also very important. And if you remember, we said that I suggest a reader also inside, not only outside. But let me tell you something. 9 to 10 of these access control systems are not access control systems you see in the servers, are just electronic locks. Access control system, it means many readers connected to one system. Now, if it is a local system that is not connected to a computer and so on, of course, you need a computer to program it. But after that, okay, if you lose the card, you can go and then you cancel the card and I don't know what. this is not an access control system. It's just an access control device, but it's not a system. So when we have an access control system, definitely I suggest 2 readers, one outside and one inside, because it's also interesting to know when a person leaves from the server, goes out from the server, not only when a person goes in the server. Okay, very important. So access control systems are typically managed through a central system of software that tracks access and so and so. Are multiple devices, are not only a central system. You have local systems as well, because this is a little bit technical, but let me tell you, each reader needs its own cable. And imagine now that if you have 20 or 40 readers, can you imagine to have 40 cables to go to the central unit from every floor, 40 cables? It would be madness. So that's why you have local controllers. Each reader, each cable goes to the controller, like a junction box, small things, goes there, and from there goes one cable to another central for the entire floor, if it's a multiple, complicated system. And from the entire floor goes only one cable to the central system. So you have 7 floors, you have 7 cables, which is nothing, actually. Okay. So you have to hear a lot from me about the security systems, because this is my baby, mainly. I'm an electronic engineer I'm specialized in security systems. And trust me, I know many things in this. If you tell me if you have a security system and you have problem, I can tell you where to look and fix it immediately. Okay? I had my technicians to my company in the past that I was putting a bet between them. If I will find out where is the problem, only by telling me the symptoms, and I was always finding it. That's why I know, because we make these jokes in the past. So the procedure to install, to design and implement an effective access control involves several steps, as I say in the manual: assessment, selection, installation, policy development, training, monitoring, and maintenance. Okay? So assessment, first of all, you have to know where an access control reader, an access control generally as action is needed. Where you need access control? You need in the parking, if you have a building, a big building, company's building. You need in the parking access control. In some occasions, you need to the elevator access control. For example, if you have one elevator that is for the public, but the same elevator is used by members of the company, workers, employees, and so on, you can have the buttons for the people who are visitors, and access control cards like this one to take you to your floor. It means you can put a reader, and when I bring my card, it takes me to the 3rd floor, because in the 3rd floor is my office. If you come, takes you to the 2nd floor, the 4th floor, which is your office, without you to press anything. Or a more simple system that you scan your card and then you press your button. Okay? And all the rest, the visitors, they can go only to the reception, to the ground floor, in order to be registered. And then they give them a visitor's card according to the floor they go. And this visitor's card works only for the specific floor. Okay, as you see, immediately now we created an access control. Okay, we created an access control system. So another system that I'm sorry, I'm not able to see myself all this time. Another system is another reason, another topic that you should consider in order to design the system is, as I said, how fast you have to do the detection. Because it is possible. Think something. If you have the phenomenon, we call it bottleneck. So everybody run, and then when it closes the bottleneck, then everything, it stops. You can find this in traffic, for example. When you have a big highway that closes and end up to one lane, there you see endless traffic jam. Endless traffic jam. And this is a bottleneck phenomenon, and I'm truly not able to understand, even if you have it in one place, why it should be there forever. You have it, you have to fix it. But governments, those they are there, they do this job. Nobody gives a damn. So anyway, if you have a bottleneck phenomenon to your job, you have to think more wide. If you're not able to control a person there, because if you start controlling there, it's a position that everybody comes. For example, let's say you have the main entrance of a building. If you control the people to the main entrance of the building, it means if 2,000 people work in this building, 2,000 people will have to pass their card and the system to check if the person can be there and so on. This takes some time, okay? Do you know what you do in this case? If you have 20 floors or 10 floors, 5 floors that these 2,000 people work, then you take them. You don't put any system at the entrance. You allow them to go in by having their card that show this card to the security officer who is there. They pass and they show the card without to stop. They have the card like this and they pass, and the security guard makes them like this, because the security guard, if it's the same, is an issue of 1 month or 2 months after the person knows everybody. All the faces, knows if this person should be here or not. Okay, so the security guard makes like this. You go to your elevator, you go to your floor, and you go out from the elevator, and before you enter inside the floor is another door, and there controls you. Okay? Because how many people will go to the 7th floor? Not all 2,000 that they will come to the entrance. Already the traffic, way less. You understand? So think, when you design a system, what problem will occur in the operation of the company? And if it's not you, the one who designed, you have to demand to be a part of the design. And as you understand, you are not electronics engineer. You are not security systems specialist. You are not the representative of the security company that comes and is the specialist and is a good and top and blah, blah, blah. And then you come and you say, wait, if we control them in the entrance, we have problem. We control them in the flow. You understand? Then the boss will say, the boss will give congratulations to himself because he chose you to be the security manager of the company. I'm telling you things that happens to me. Okay. Also, In installation, now we say installation. You have to think about it also. You can ask to install a system, but the systems are not wireless. The systems needs a wire. The wire is expensive, takes time, and sometimes can give also vulnerabilities, can create a fire. And, you have to think about everything. I don't say this happens. I'm just saying installation, not always the easiest task, the easiest procedure. So I think we will not proceed more because we overdid it for today. And I will finish the issue with access control. That access control systems, they have options to program everything you need. For example, myself, I can go to the first floor only and to the room 15, not to the room 16, for example. And I can go to the specific floor and to the specific room Monday to Friday between 7 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock the afternoon, and so on. Weekends, no. Holidays, no. And what will happen if somebody wants to come on the weekend or on the holidays? The security guard. Security guard's card works to all and all times. You call the security guard, you say, listen, because my card doesn't work, it's a Saturday, I know it will not work, please, can you come with me to open the door? And the security will come and open the door. But will ask you why you are at this day there, while if your card doesn't work, it means you mustn't be there. Why you're there? Because the security guard should write down this to his book. You understand? So, and the security guard can say to the person, listen, you know that if I come and open the door, I have to write down the purpose you came and so and so. Yes, I don't have a problem. The company knows I'm here. Okay, no problem. Let's do it. And you go and you open. Of course, a good security guard will send a message to his boss, to you, and will say, listen, we have somebody in IT who is here today. Oh, Saturday is there. Yes, he told me, company knows about it. And if nothing happened and everything is okay, in IT, it's a little bit, fishy. And you have to communicate with the IT security chief, okay, with the chief of the security of the IT department or IT manager, IT director, what you will have there. Just to be sure. Says, I know he's very trusted person, and he said you gave him order to come. I just, how we are in security, just a double check to be sure. Everybody will be happy. And even the person, if finds out, will think it's normal. Okay. So policy, we go back to the issues of policy. It means when you make the policy of the company, the security policy, and you have access control, in the security policy, you should write, if your access card doesn't work because it's not to the times and days company decided you to have access, you will ask from the security guard to open, but you have to say the reason, and your reason will be recorded, or to verify your your visit, your entry request, and so on. So I think we finished for today. And